Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss the concept of data integrity in database management system. First, we start with the definition of data integrity. Data integrity is used in database management system to maintain the integrity and the consistency of data stored in the table. So this is the main purpose we are establishing data integrity all over the database. So what is data integrity, or the definition of data integrity is described here. So it can be defined as rules created by the developer or the database administrator. Actually, to assure the consistency of information maintained in the tables, we are creating data integrity. So now we are going to have an example for data integrity. So this is the table we have created in a database. So I am showing you two tables in here. One is a department table and another one is a EMP table. So the department table can have three columns in that is department number and the department name and the location of the department. And the employee table have a lot of columns. So I am just showing 5 columns in this example, that is employee number, employee name, salary and a commission and the department number. So this is the two tables I am going to take to explain the concept of data integrity. So I'm just explain the data integrity one by one. So I'm going to give you 5 examples how the data integrity rules are stipulated. So first thing, the department number column of the department table. So here there are department number column. So in both the tables. So first we should take a note, the department number column is a very important column in a department table. Without department number, we cannot identify a department or employee in a particular department. So this would be the mandatory field. So no one can leave the particular department number column is emptied, or it may be in a duplicate values. So it cannot contain duplicate values. So the duplicate values means the department number value should be unique. So it cannot that there cannot be two departments with the same code. Suppose I am going to give department number 20 for the first department, Tamil department. I cannot use the same code department 20 for English department or a commerce department. So the department number will be unique for each department. So this is the first constraint. I am going to maintain the integrity of the table. So the second example, employee name column of the EMP table. So it cannot be left blank. So the employee name is another important field in a employee table. So without specifying the employee name, I cannot say the benefit of the particular employee in a company. So employee name should be mandatory to mention in a department table. So the next example is the salary column. So salary column of the particular employee table can contain only values below 10,000. So I am indirectly ask the employee to enter the correct value of their salary. So this is the way I am going to maintain a integrity in a particular table. So types of integrity. So types of integrity. We have several ways to force the data integrity in a tables column, or we are going to apply the rule for the entire structure of the table. So this is the thing which decides the types of integrity. So we can create constraints or created and or change with the create table or alter table commands. So now we have look on what are the types of integrity. So the types are listed here. First one is null, unique key, primary key values, and referential integrity. So we are going to discuss the types of integrity one by one in the following slides. So just start with this null integrity. So actually we say that it is a null rule. It allows a row to have a null value. So null value, so that is the absence of the value. So it means the field can be left blank. So this is the null rule. Null rule which describes the purpose. So next, unique values. Unique value rule means that each value in a particular column is unique, such as department number in the department table. I already said to you, that is the department number can have unique values. One department number cannot be repeated for another department. So this is the thing, that is unique values. So next, we are having the keys. That is, this is the key which is used to create consistency or maintain the data integrity in a table. So first key is primary key. So this is the very basic key. Actually we are going to make it in a table at the time of creation or later on. So the primary key, purpose of using primary key is the primary key value rule specifies that each row of a table must be identified by a unique value. So for example, your register number and your roll number, anything else, it can be unique for you. So it cannot be repeat for the next batch or the after 10 years or after 20 years. It cannot be repeated for another batch student. So it should be allotted for you only. Like that, the value in a particular row cannot be repeated for more than one more row. So this is the purpose of using primary key value rule. So the next key is referential. The next concept, it is not a key actually. So referential integrity. So the referential integrity rule determines the value or group of fields correspond to the key fields of other table. So this is a very important fact in database management system. So this is the thing which used to establish a relationship to one or more table. So a table can able to establish a relationship to another table with the help of this concept, referential integrity. But one thing we should keep it in mind, both the table can have the common column. That is, I'm having a student roll number in a student table, so I have the same student roll number column in the library table or the sports table, whatever it may be. So for common column in both the table is used to establish a relationship between two tables. So this is about referential integrity. So the referential integrity table, integrity example is again explained with the two more tables, that is EMP table and the department table. So both the tables can have the common columns, that is department number column. So I have so some of the rules we have listed here, that is restrict, set to null, and the next slide also explain the types of rule used at the time of data manipulation to restrict the particular concept on the specified values. So the first rule is restrict, that is it is used to disable the updating or deletion of the specified data. Set to null, when specified data is updated or deleted, all the associated data is adjusted to null. So this is about set to null rule. So next we have the hashhead. So hashhead, when specified data is updated, all the dependent data is updated too. So this is about hashhead. So indirectly we are going to make affected with the help of the hashhead. So here we are updating one type of data, but it should reflected in the dependent data too. So this is about hashhead rule. no action. The name itself represents what we are going to do. So it disables the updating or and deletion of the specified data. So this is the default operation which is available in Oracle, but we can make use of it for particular reason or particular transaction. So this is the rule which is allow you to specify the type of data manipulation, so that is allowed on the specified values. So we can have a lot of rules. Most of the rules are defined as constraints or database triggers. So I think now you have a little bit idea about what is integrity and what are the types of integrity, what we are going to do in a table with the help of integrity. So we are going to maintain a consistency and integrity of the data which is in the table. So for the only purpose we are going to maintain an integrity with the help of the constraint is possible to maintain the validity of the data or the consistency of the data in a table. Next, we are going to discuss in detail what are the other things to maintain a data integrity in a table. So apart from constraints or the constraints, we are having some more features to maintain the data integrity. So for the next concept and important feature used in database to maintain a database integrity is triggers. So database triggers is another way to force the data integrity. Triggers are routines written in a PL bar SQL that are triggered when an insert, update or delete operation is executed. So once we created, it is automatically called by itself. So we no need to call manually, or there is no other codes used to call the particular trigger. So the only thing we should concentrate at the time of creating the trigger. So the next concept is integrity constraint. So a constraint is a declarative method for defining the rule for a column. So Oracle can have some constraints which is already created, defined. We are going to make use of it only. So we are not going to create it. So it is already defined. So they are listed here as not null. Not null. Not null for rules, it's a kind of rule for rules associated with nulls. So next, unique key for unique values rule, and primary key for rules associated with the primary keys, and a foreign key for rules associated with the referential integrity. So check is for complex rules. So check give a liberty to create our own constraint for our application. So we are not depend always about the Oracle's constraints and the integrity rules. So if we want to change or if we want to modify for our application, we can do it with the help of the check. So we are not interested to use the Oracle's predefined constraints or the integrity rules. So we can make our own with the help of the check constraint. So next we are going to make it clear understanding about constraint. So constraints maintain the consistency of the data or data in a particular table or a structure of the table. Constraints are generated through SQL commands when a table is created or changed. Once a constraint is created, the database itself applies it. So we are not we no need to create. We no need to create additional programming to establish a particular constraint. So the simple thing, once we create that, later on we can enable it or disable it based on our purpose or the application, but there is no additional programming to call that particular constraint. So this is another important feature about constraint. So for example, we have a table. So within that employee table, so there is a column, salary column. So in the salary field, I'm trying to create a constraint. So the constraint is nothing but it limits the maximum value to 10,000. If someone is try to enter the values more than 10,000, it may be 10,500 or 11,000. It means it shows an error message and it alerts us. So kindly enter the value below 10,000. So this is the value which is not permitted. So error message, if we wish to write more about the particular field, we can write our own sentences and messages to make aware of the particular data entry operator or the employee to enter the valid data. So finally the operation is cancelled. So when they put a correct information or the correct values, that is salary, then only it will be accepted. So we can try any number of times. So this is not the matter. So the operation is cancelled. So this is about the usage of constraint. So constraints, the next thing about constraint is constraints are associated to a specific table and are stored in a data dictionary. So data dictionary, data dictionary is maybe active, it may be active data dictionary or a passive data dictionary. The entire information is available in the data dictionary. So it shows a metadata about the database or a table just stored in a database. So it have the entire informations in the about the database. So next constraint. Constraints take some processing time to be applied. So this is about constraint. So when we try to give each and every data in a row or a field, whatever it may be, if we create a constraint, so it should be checked once, then only it accept the values. So it will take some processing time. Not null constraint. Oracle allows all columns to accept the null values. Not null constraint. So this is a type of constraint. As a default, Oracle allows all the columns to accept null values. The not null constraint requires that the columns of the table always contains a value. For example, employee name column of the EMP table has this constraint. If suppose I forgot to mention the name of the employee, it will force me to enter the employee name. So while the commission column is not like that. So if one employee have more working hours, they get more salary, more commission. So the commission value will be differed for each and every employee in a particular organization. So based on their working hours and their work allotment, so it will be allotted. So the commission column allows null values to be accepted. So remember that a null is the absence of a value. So next you have a constraint, unique key constraint. So each of the values in the rows in a column or a group of columns that form the key are required by the unique key constraint, that is to be unique. The department name column of the department table, for example, has the unique constraint because there cannot be more than one department with the same name. So unique key is used to identify a particular row of the table. So this is the key which is used to identify a particular row or a particular column or maintain a relationship to another table. So everything is based on a unique key column. So the way we should maintain a unique key constraint for a particular column in a table. So it should be mandatory for a table at least one column we can have like this, that is we are using the unique key constraint. So next primary key constraint. So primary key constraint, that is the column or group of columns we can include to create a primary key constraint. It should be included in the definition of the constraint that is called primary key. Each table should have at least one primary key. So foreign key constraint. This is the type of constraint allow the relationship among the tables to be established through the columns with identical content. Um, foreign key, foreign key and parent key or referenced key, dependent or child table, referenced or parent table. So these are the key constraints which is related to that foreign key constraint used to maintain a relationship among the tables. First thing, foreign key. So this is the column specific to the current table in the definition of the referential integrity constraint. So which links to the key field or primary key of the table. Next is referenced or parent key. The unique key or primary key of the table which is specified by the foreign key. So this is about parent key. Next, dependent or child table. So the table or child table containing the foreign key which is dependent on the value of another table. Next one is referenced or parent table. The parent table, that is the table referenced by the child table, which tries to find the identical value when specified in the column with the foreign key constraint. So we have a so we have a row of the child table, so there must be corresponding row in the parent table. So this is the way we can establish a relationship between a parent table and a child table. So we should keep it in mind. We already studied two keys, that is primary key and foreign key. The key may be anything. It may be a primary key or unique key or foreign key, but one thing we should keep it in mind. We can include one single column or several columns for primary key. So the same way we are going to use several columns for creating a foreign key too. So we are not forced to use one single column for maintaining a key. We can have one or more columns for maintaining a key. So next is self-referential constraint. So the another type of referential integrity is self-referential constraint. Self-referential, the name itself represent what is the thing we are going to implement in that constraint. That is, the parent key is in the table itself, not in an external table. So this is about self-referential structure. So we can have a practical application in employee table. So I'm going to show you a diagram. That is, this is the employee table, and we can have only one table for maintaining a self-referential constraint. So that is we can have two columns, that is manager column and employee number column. So this should be marked with an arrow. So the manager column is going to refer an employee number column of the same table. So in referential integrity, we are including two tables. One table is treated as a parent table, another one is treated as a child table. The child table is going to refer or make a relationship between parent table, and both the table is going to establish a relationship. But according to that self-referential structure, a column in a table is going to refer the another column in the same table. So this is about self-referential integrity constraint. So next we have a check constraint. So check constraint, this is the last type of constraint. So it is allow the creation of a routine written in PL/SQL that performs complex test or return a value. Either it may be a true or false value or anything else. So we can create our own constraint with the help of the check constraint. So with the help of Oracle constraint, we can force some integrity constraint only. So we wish to create our own constraint. So for our application, so we can make use of the check constraint. So when a DML command results is false, the command is undone. So this is an example for creating a check constraint. So this is not the exact thing we are going to do about a DML command. So we can make it more with the help of the check constraint. So next is a deferred constraint. So a constraint can have its checking postponed until the end of the transaction. So in this case, the system caches a rollback of the entire transaction if it is not undone. So this is about a deferred constraint. So we are going to stop the constraint checking for a period of time. So we are forcing the constraint to stop their work for a period of time. So this is about a deferred constraint. For the reason behind for deferred constraint is at the peak hours at the for particular data entry time, we are not interested to check the constraint at that moment. So we are stop the particular constraint checking to avoid the time delay. So we are establishing a deferred constraint. So the once we can able to create a constraint, so this is not not a limitation to maintain the entire constraint over the period. So if we want, we can enable it, or if we don't want, we can disable it, or we can make it deferred for a period of time. So this is also possible. So the only thing, we no need to call the particular constraint each and every time, but we can enable it, disable it, or defer it. So this is a possible one. So the system caches a rollback of the entire transaction if it is not undone. I will already said to you. The constants can be defined as deferable and not deferable, initially deferred, or initially immediate. Using this keyword, but what the syntax is, we can enclose within the parentheses. So enable or disable the constraint. I already said to you, create a table or alter table command is used. The user can enable or disable the checking of the constraint for new changes of the table. So this is possible. Create table or alter table command is used with enable or disable constraints. So we can use the options validate or no validate to force the integrity on a existing data. So this is the option, like enable or disable. We can have one more thing, that is validate or no validate. Modify a constraint. So modify a constraint option of is one of the options of the alter table command. You can change the following rules of the constraint, that is deferable, not deferable, initially deferred, and initially immediate, enable or disable. So the final concept is reaction based referential integrity. So the referential integrity constraints can specify specific actions in the rows of the child table when the value of the parent table is changed. So this is the thing we should note when it comes to referential integrity. For example, imagine that I have a department number in the department column, that is department number is 20. So department number 20 closes. What happens to the rows of the employee table that refers to it? Or what if the department code changes? So what do you do now? So using the three actions associated to the referential integrity constraint, we can able to resolve these situations. So what's the thing we are going to do to maintain the referential integrity constraint? So the actions possible are listed here. That is no action. So no action is it's by default we are having this no action. So it says that the specified keys cannot be updated or deleted since they violate the referential integrity. So we are not do the delete process when when that table is in a relationship. So that is, as long as there is an employee associated to a department, the department row in the department table cannot be deleted. So I am the person employee within an organization. I am having the department number 20, but someone is trying to delete the department number 20 in the department table, it cannot be deleted because employee table is referred the particular department number in the department table. So this is about no action. So by default, this is the syntax for the table which is in relation. So delete hashtag. So delete hashtag indicates when a row containing the specified keys is deleted, all the rows of the child table that depends on it also deleted. So deletes the entry in one table affects the entry in another table. So both the table are deleted. Both the table content are deleted when we apply delete hashtag. So in this case, the elimination just I said to the same. That is the elimination of the row for department number 20 in the department table would also eliminate all the rows of the employee having this department code. So delete set null indicates when a row containing the specified key is deleted, all the rows of the delete set to null, the child table get affected. The values depend on the values in the parent table and have their values adjusted to null. So delete set null make the child table as null values. So in this case we have an example, that is the elimination of the row for department 20 would assign null to all the rows of employees having this department code. So thank you for listening. So in this chapter we discussed what is data integrity and types of data integrity, how we are going to maintain a data integrity with the help of constraint and the types of constraints we have, and how we are establishing a referential integrity in between two tables, two tables within a database. So we can have a next topic in the next video. Thank you.